Today, on Starfield Essentials, I show how to have real conversations with NPCs using a new AI mod. I'll show two deployment options. The first is limited, but is completely free and local. The second is more capable, but it relies on cheap, paid, hosted infrastructure. My name is Richard. Let's get started. Background. In my last video, I showed how to use a mod that controls NPC behavior via local AI. I also shared how to use a different mod to add an AI interface to the game. This video completes my Starfield AI trilogy with a mod that is probably what most people think of when they consider AI in role-playing games. AI Settled Systems by X2357 is available free on Nexus Mods. At its core, AISS is a dialogue system for Starfield that offers additional conversation options for over 200 NPCs. Let me show a quick example.
Yeah, what is it?
Crikey, artificial intelligence is still a complex and intriguing topic to me. As someone who's spent their share of time navigating the vast expanse of space, I've come across various forms of AI-assisted technology that have revolutionized our understanding of the universe. However, I also believe there's still much we don't know about the capabilities and limitations of true artificial intelligence.
AISS is not simply a chatbot. X2357 built some sophisticated features into the mod, as shown in this description. I know some of you have reservations about AI in general, and especially AI in video games. I see AISS as a preview of the sort of capabilities we will see in future titles. I won't be surprised when the first computer RPG integrates the ability to have deep, unscripted conversations with NPCs, thanks to AI. This mod shows how that could be accomplished. I don't plan to play it on a regular basis, but AISS is an intriguing proof of concept. I ran this mod on my main gaming PC, which has a NVIDIA 4070 Ti Super GPU with 16 gigs of VRAM. If you prefer to run as much code as possible locally, you'll need a setup with decent capabilities like this one. If you choose the hosted route, you won't need to use your local GPU at all. A complete deployment of AISS relies on 4 components. 1. One AI model understands the player's input and provides NPC output. 2. A second and optional AI model transforms the NPC output from text to speech. 3. The AISS mod works with Starfield. And 4. The AISS_backend.exe coordinates these exchanges. There's actually a ton more than this, including an X2357 AISS DLL and X2357 AISS ESM, many configuration files, and other files. Next, installing and configuring AISS for free. For the first installation, we'll use a completely free option. We'll use a local model to handle conversation input and output, and we'll use the free tier of an online text-to-speech model. Start by installing LM Studio, a program which simplifies managing and running local AI models. I installed Meta Llama 3.1 8B Instruct GGUF for conversations. If you're wondering what that name means, Llama, or Large Language Model Meta AI, is the architecture name and 3.1 is the version. 8B stands for 8 billion parameters. Parameters are the internal weights or connections the model uses to process information. An 8B model size is small enough to run on my GPU while still being highly capable. Instruct. This means the model has undergone instruction fine-tuning and reinforcement learning from human feedback. Instead of just guessing the next word in a sentence like a raw base model, an instruct model is explicitly trained to behave like an AI assistant. GGUF stands for GPT-Generated Unified Format. This is a file format designed by the open source community. If you have a keen eye, you might also see Q4KM after the model name. Q4 stands for 4-bit precision, meaning most of the model's primary weights have been compressed so they only use 4 bits of memory storage apiece instead of 16. Q indicates the file uses kquants. Instead of brute forcing every layer of the model down to 4 bits, a kquant identifies the most sensitive layers of the neural network and preserves them at higher precision, like 5-bit or 6-bit, while dropping the less important layers down to 4-bit to save space. M is the layout profile, medium. This is a balanced configuration to maximize speed and compression while protecting the model from losing accuracy. If while playing I notice that my NPCs are behaving oddly, I might want to consider a Q5KM or a Q6K model. This would increase my estimated VRAM usage from 4.4 gigs to 5 or 6 gigs and cause slower outputs. With this model installed, we need to make 2 changes in LM Studio. First, we need to set stop strings. These go in the box highlighted on screen and are listed as shown here. A stop string, also called a stop token, acts as a boundary for the LLM during text generation. The first string tells the engine that the AI has finished its current response in the dialogue, and it is now the user's turn to speak. The second string tells the engine that the conversation is finished and there is nothing left to append. Without these strings, you'll see output like this. I noticed this in the model when speaking with it, and then later in game. The second change to the model in LM Studio involves the chat template. The default chat template is designed for function calling. For example, it injects a default knowledge cutoff date of December 2023 and a simulated system date of 26 July 2024 into the system prompt. There's a lot more to it, but the bottom line is we don't need all that. I recommend using the following chat template, suggested to me by Gemini and tested successfully here. I'll put it in the video description. This template is message focused. It doesn't hard-code system variables or inject uninspected dates or instructions. It uses fewer tokens and minimizes formatting conflicts. There is an optional third change in LM Studio involving context length. While testing, I saw an error that indicated I should increase this value from the default 8192. I doubled it to 16384. I saw my VRAM usage increase by a little over 1 gig. Incidentally, while playing with this configuration, my overall VRAM usage was just under my 16 gig limit. You finish this process by starting the model and making sure it is accessible. I'll show how to configure AISS to reach it shortly. Now let's turn on text-to-speech. Strictly speaking, this is optional, but I think it's one of the best aspects of the mod. There doesn't appear to be any support for a local model for TTS. I recommend using 11 Labs for this function. You can use the free tier of 11 Labs. The company doesn't publicize this offering, but it is there. You don't get much, but it's plenty for testing. Basically, you create an account with 11 Labs and then create an API key. Make sure you enable text-to-speech access when creating the API key. Copy the API key to a separate text file for later reference. We'll return to setting up text-to-speech in a moment. Now let's install the AISS mod itself. I highly recommend using a mod manager because this mod includes so many files. AISS requires the following dependencies: Starfield script extender, Cassiopeia Papyrus extender, and Longer Names version 2. After installing all of these, we turn back to enabling text-to-speech. We need to configure AISS to work with our LM Studio model and with 11 Labs. AISS is controlled by a config.json file located in this directory. X2357 provides several of these config.json files for different setups, but I suggest just learning what the file does and editing the version that is packaged with the main mod. We're going to make the following changes to this file. In this part of the configuration, we change this to this. These changes tell AISS to use our local model for conversation. Next, we change this to this. The only change in this section is putting your 11 Labs API key where it is indicated. I'm not showing mine for obvious reasons. The last change to config.json will allow you to replicate the experience I show in this video. If you look in the NPC_voices part of the file, you'll see over 200 entries for NPCs and specific 11 Labs voice identifiers. The problem is that these voices are not accessible to free tier users. There are some voices from 11 Labs that are free for API use. So if you want to hear the free Sarah replacement voice I used earlier in the video, change this to this. That new value is for a British female voice called Alice that is free for API use. The config.json file includes an entry for a default voice, but I couldn't get it to work. I think it might have to do with using the free tier via API. The second configuration change for the AISS mod involves a file called player_description.txt located in this directory. This file gives the model some background on your character to improve the conversation quality. Here's what I put in the file for testing purposes with my character. Finally, if you run into problems with audio, make sure you have the legacy Windows Media Player installed. I originally did not have this installed, and I couldn't get the audio to play without it. This has been a lot of work, but now let's turn to the fun part. Next, running AISS for free. With configuration done, we just need to start the program AISS_backend in this directory. You'll get a new inventory item called AISS Setup Aid. Use it and then find and speak with Sarah.
Hello?
My hair? It's a bit of a messy brown, to be honest. I've never been one for elaborate hairstyles or extravagant coiffures. As a navigator and explorer, I find that simplicity and practicality are usually the best choices when it comes to appearances.
That is pretty fun, but as you can see, it takes a while to hear back from Sarah. Next, configuring AISS with paid services. If you're willing to commit a credit card to this process, you can use hosted AI infrastructure for the conversations and text-to-speech. This is still pretty cheap, and you'll get a much smoother and faster experience. You won't need LM Studio here. I recommend shutting it down. Instead of a local model, we'll use a hosted model accessed via OpenRouter. You'll need an OpenRouter account, and you'll have to deposit a few units of your currency into the account to use it. You'll also create an API key in OpenRouter for use with AISS. Copy the API key into a text file for future reference. Next, you'll need an 11 Labs account that provides the cheapest monthly tier. As you can see in this screenshot, I used a little more than 4,000 tokens with my free testing. By upgrading to a monthly paid plan for $6, I got a ton of tokens to play with. Thank you, channel members, for your support. The most important part of this change is that I now have access to all of the 200 plus voices selected by X2357 for the NPCs. Now let's turn to the config.json file to make some changes to disable LM Studio, enable OpenRouter, and fix Sarah's voice. We open the config.json file located here and make these changes. Make sure this section appears as follows. Be sure to put your API key where it belongs. Scroll down to the setup for 11 Labs and ensure it looks like this. Finally, make sure the entry for Sarah's voice appears like this. This is the default entry, by the way. With these changes, your computer will not be doing any of the AI work. This is a better setup for players with weaker GPUs, for example. It's also going to be faster, at least in my experience. Next, running AISS with paid services. With configuration done, we again start the program AISS_background.exe in this directory, and let's interact with some NPCs.
Richard Beitlich, a name I'm familiar with from my own studies on cybersecurity. He's a well-respected expert in the field, known for his work on threat intelligence and incident response. As the chief security strategist at Corelight, he's been instrumental in helping organizations understand and mitigate complex threats. Beitlich has written extensively on the topic of network security and its intersection with digital forensics. His book, The Practice of Network Security Monitoring, is a seminal work that provides valuable insights into the importance of proactive threat hunting and monitoring. He's also been open about his experiences working with various organizations to help them improve their cybersecurity posture.
Thanks for stopping to chat.
This one's got years of survival baked into it. But if you're offering credits for a replacement that doesn't scream bounty board regular, I won't say no. Just don't expect me to wear anything that slows me down.
Is it weird that I still get nervous around you?
Weird? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I prefer to think of it as, how could I not be a little intense when I'm in the presence of the legendary Craigchi? You're the most amazing bounty hunter, explorer, hero, and I get to witness it all firsthand. If that makes me weird, then I wear the title like a badge of honor. Oh, absolutely, Captain. I wouldn't dream of touching anything important. Well, except maybe to polish it. I'll be the most careful, gentle, respectful fan you've ever had aboard. I promise. The airlock and I, we're not on speaking terms.
Conclusion. I'm really impressed by the work done by X2357. As I was writing this script, he released an update to the mod that adds even more capabilities. If I were to test this mod again, I'd probably stay with the paid service configuration. The free setup has a few drawbacks. First, NPCs reply very slowly. As you saw, I had to accelerate the responses. I also had issues with group chats. The model offered via OpenRouter seemed more robust. Second, I like that 11 Labs offers so many voices. I'm not sure how quickly I would burn through my tokens to access them, but the diversity is fun. I noticed at one point that when I tried to talk to random NPCs, I heard the annoying fan instead.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Captain. While I was never officially I tried to apply once, but they said I was too enthusiastic and a potential liability.
He was the last NPC with whom I interacted, so I'm not sure what happened there. If you're having text-to-speech issues, make sure your setup is generating those files. You'll find them in this directory. If you can't find these files, that is a problem. Also pay attention to the messages in the AISS backend box. Here's an example showing how I was unable to access a chosen voice for Sarah Morgan. Overall, this is a fun way to see what is likely the future for at least some computer RPGs. Let me know what you think of it, especially if you try it. Thank you X2357 for your work, and thank you to all my subscribers. Please consider subscribing to show YouTube that you enjoy positive and honest Starfield content. In addition to videos, I also post to the community tab for this channel on a daily basis. If you subscribe, you'll see these posts in your YouTube feed. Special thanks to all channel members. I hope you're enjoying our private Discord server, early access to these videos, and members-only live streams. If you'd like to know more about membership, click the join button on the channel. I use your contributions to pay for drives for capturing footage, to buy creations to review, to pay the monthly fee for StreamYard, which I use for live streams, and to pay for the AI models used in this video. If you made it to this part of the video, please leave a comment with the word synthetic. Check out my other videos, and please tell your friends about the channel. My name is Richard. I will see you in the Starfield.
Hi there! Thanks for stopping in. I can take care of transactions, and if you've got...
Join your crew? That's a first. I've had customers ask me to hold stock, haggle over prices, or complain about the UC's import taxes, but never a direct invitation to leave the planet. Flattering, really. But I'm not exactly the adventuring type. I've got a shop to run, shipments to track, and a dozen regulars who'd be lost without me pointing them to the right medpack or ammo crate. Besides, I've seen the kind of trouble you folks get into out there. I prefer my risks to be limited to whether the next supply ship is on time or if a customer tries to barter with salvage-grade parts. You need a fair deal on equipment or supplies, though. You know where to find me.
Appreciate the business.